Man, so the Kambosos, Devin, Lomachenko saga continues. I guess you could add Ryan Garcia to that as well. The latest reports is that I guess Kambosos is supposed to be fighting on June the 4th, I believe, or June the 5th. One of the two dates. It would be basically a Sunday afternoon in Australia, but it would be primetime Saturday night over in the United States. So you get that, United States viewership as well. And that there was a deal on the table where Lomachenko has agreed to his side of it, and that, but that Kambosos has not yet agreed to the fight, and that, it still has Devin Haney and I guess in not Kambosos, Devin Haney and Lomachenko as the, two final contestants, I guess, that he, quote, could fight. Now, there's been too many stories that's been going on, especially stories coming from the same people. So I would say, number one, I wouldn't pay any attention to this whatsoever. Until things go down, things actually happen, and things are confirmed from the Kambosos team or whatever, other team is involved that finally gets to fight, I'd stop listening to people, because just these, quote, coppingers and everything, they're all over the place. They're completely all over the place. The last I heard from DeBella said that, they had sent the offer to Devin Haney. Devin Haney's team rejected it. They sent the counter offer that was laughable, and that they were done with that side, with that team. They were done with that. We also heard from what's his name, Robert Garcia, that he had received a phone call where DeBella thought that he was, I guess, the other Garcia from Golden Boy, and that the beans were spilt as far as Kambosos fighting a Ryan Garcia in a multi-fight deal. Where I guess he would fight a lower tier fighter, then after that, he'll come back and he'd fight Ryan Garcia on a multi-fight DAZN deal. And then after that, we heard Eddie Hearn come on and said, yes, DAZN is interested in both the Devin fight and interested in the Ryan Garcia fight, but that Kambosos should pick the Devin fight. So we know that part is also probably true as well. That DAZN is interested in the Ryan aspect of it. So then all of a sudden now, the two main people that are left on the table is Devin and Kambosos. Devin and Lomachenko. It's just two all over the place. So it's kind of one of them situations we kind of just got to sit back and see what actually happens. But now, as far as this whole thing with Lomachenko, people thinking that, oh, it's a done deal, and oh, he's agreed, and of course he's agreed. It's his side that's sending the deal. So if his side is sending the deal, of course he's agreed to the deal. He's okay with the deal. Just like if Devin's side sends a deal, sends something out, of course Devin's okay with it. Of course, if it's of course he is. His side sent the deal. If Golden Boy sends it, obviously that whole side is going to be okay with the deal that they're sending out. So I don't think it really means nothing. All I'm hearing is that Top Rank, basically is in negotiations, and they send out a deal that Lomachenko's already agreed to. Because the only way it could be anything else would be if Kambosos' team had sent out a contract to be signed, had sent out a deal to be signed, and a final draft basically, and Lomachenko signed it. So when it comes back, then they sign it. So why wouldn't he have not agreed to it? If his side was the one actually sending the contract, it means that he's agreed to everything on there. He's ready to go. He's ready to go. If he wasn't ready to go, he wouldn't have sent it out. You're sending this final deal. It's like, all right, this one I'm picking. Sent it out, it's signed, it comes back. It would have been a question of Kambosos is expected to sign within the next few days. It wouldn't be, oh, Kambosos has yet to decide on which fight he wants. So people are getting kind of reeled into BS, into complete BS about basically much ado about nothing. Nothing major was, put out in that particular situation. The only thing that I think that was new that, we didn't know before, a piece of information that you can take from it, is the fact that with the Lomachenko deal, it's also a 2-fight deal. Because we heard that when it came to the Ryan Garcia fight, that was a 2-fight deal. So it was multiple fights that Kambosos was going to make money off of. Probably a super easy fight. Then after that, he would get the Ryan Garcia fight. On the other side, with the Lomachenko, it's still the same type of thing where you're guaranteed if you lose this fight, you know you can come back for a rematch to try to avenge that loss. So you're going to double dip when it comes to that as well, you know? So, and depending on what, you know, the guaranteed purses are and things of that nature, it could be very lucrative for him. Now, when it comes to the Devin Haney fight, my question for that would be then, was that also a multi-fight deal? Or was that just a situation where it was just a one fight? Because only thing I hear from people is like, well, you know, he should fight Devin Haney because if, you know, he beats Devin Haney, he can still fight Lomachenko. So Devin Haney's the fight that he needs to do. You know, if he beats, what if he doesn't beat him? You know, what if he loses? And oh, he doesn't believe in himself. He's not an idiot. He's not a moron. He's still, even if he believes that he's going to win, he still could clearly understand that he could lose that fight. The guy's had draws and split decisions, all types of stuff like that against lower level competition. So he understands that he could lose the fight. So his job is to try to set up the most lucrative and the best financial deal that he can do. It's called prize fighting, you know, and people are still expecting this kid to just, you know, take a price cut or not necessarily get as much as he could. People are getting upset because he's trying to max out this situation. He's doing what he's supposed to do with this situation. He's supposed to max out with that particular situation. That's what he's supposed to do. When Devin Haney got into a certain position and people were vying for his services, you know, he didn't say, you know what, you know, let me take this lower deal because I can, you know, I'll be able to be on TV more. I'll be able to grow more. That's not what he chose to do. He chose to go get the maximum deal. He chose not to work with PBC. He chose not to work with Showtime. He chose to go work in the zone on a closed platform and take what he believed to be, you know, the max pay right there. You know, he took the max pay. He didn't take the Earl Spence route, you know, and say, let me take way less money than I would get from Top Rank and let me grow over here, you know, and progress because in the long term, it's going to be better for me. He didn't do that. He said, they're paying the most money. They're going to give me twice as much as everybody else. I'm taking that. And he took what was the most lucrative deal for himself. That's what he did. Kambosos has a right to do the same. You know, he has the right to secure his family and his future as well. You know, he has to look at this as this might be the beginning of something great as far as a career, or this might be his one time to absolutely maximize what he can make. And it's his job to look out for himself and his family. You know, look at Picture Cologne and what he's going through. How effed up and messed up he is. That can happen to you as a fighter. What if that happens to him in the future? You know, and then he needs to now be taken care of for years to come, for the rest of his life. He needs to do what's in the best interest of himself. That's what he needs to do in the best interest of his family. Period. And that means maximizing what you can get financially with this opportunity that he has. It's called prize fighting. And if any of these sides want to get that fight, they have to put him into a space where he's comfortable with that financially, monetarily. Put the biggest deal on the table. If you can't, then you can't. The man got to do what he got to do. It's not his responsibility to look out for somebody else's career and for somebody else's well-being. There are no special snowflakes that deserve, quote, all this stuff. You got to put yourself in position to get what you want. And if the way you're doing things isn't working, make the adjustment. That's it. But, you know, as far as the contract things considered, though, is concerned, much ado about nothing. Like, subscribe, share. I'm out.